Hi, welcome back to another edition of Keeping It Real with Coach Neal. I'm Brandon Sims, joined now by UNCW women's soccer head coach Chris Neal. Coach, welcome back to Wilmington, first of all.
Thank you.
Just talk about Northeastern. How was that game last Thursday?
I thought Northeastern were very good. We had some good moments, but it wasn't consistent enough. And to be a long way from home on turf, first conference match, we learned a lot, and we can take a lot from it, and moving on from there.
How does that change playing on turf versus down here when we're playing on grass? What adjustment, what challenges does that present for players?
Well, it's very different, and the ball is going to bounce very differently in certain situations, especially like longer services with backspin on them. It'll check up and bounce straight up instead of bouncing forward. So it's definitely something to get used to. We got there a day early, so we took the team over to literally just work on how the ball was rolling, how it was bouncing, but it's definitely a factor.
Right, and then moving forward to this week, we got two home matches. You're back home. Hampton, they're making their first trip to Wilmington as a CAA member, and then obviously the long-standing rivalry with Charleston on Sunday. Just kind of talk about Hampton. I know last year was a little bit of an interesting game up there in Northern Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen from the Pirates this year, and what do you remember from that game last year?
Last year's game was incredibly spirited, and it was a very close battle. And we felt fortunate to get out of town with 3 points last year. We had to score late, to earn 3 points. So they defended very, very well in the day and scored a great goal. And we expect it to be a great game again. We're at home, so there's a responsibility here to defend the Hawks' Nest and to play well in front of our home fans. So looking forward to Thursday and obviously Sunday with Charleston. That's a regional rival. Schools have a lot of history. Coaching staff, Christian Michener is a good friend of mine, and we love competing against each other, and always a good time. But I expect that to be a classic CAA matchup.
Your season ended there with the tie last year in Charleston, or Mount Pleasant, excuse me. Just what do you remember from that game? I know they had a very early goal in a game that we needed to win, and then Caleb Burrows being able to bounce back quickly with a goal of her own. What do you remember about that, and what are you looking from the Cougars going into Sunday?
I remember everything about that. I can still remember it like it was yesterday. We made the early mistake, then we fought back and got it back, and there were times where it felt like the go-ahead goal was going to come, and there was so much on the line that day with a playoff spot being on the line, and we needed to win to make the playoffs, but ultimately we drew and fell a little bit short. So I remember the terrible feeling on the end of the day with that tie that kept us out of the playoffs. So we obviously want to beat Charleston, beat any CAA opponent, but a win on Thursday and a win on Sunday would go a long way to putting that in the rearview mirror.
As you've gone from week to week, what has impressed you in terms of just improvement from your seeing? A lot of new players playing new positions. What have you seen from the group overall that has you excited about the Seahawks moving forward?
Yeah, we see some individual things where players are intelligent enough to play a game, reflect on it, make improvements to their own individual game and performance. So I've been impressed by the extra work that's being put in by the players. We got back from Boston probably about 12:45. We flew into Wilmington, had to wait for bags. Some of the bags got lost, et cetera, et cetera. We didn't get back to campus until about 1:15. Most people probably got to bed by 2 o'clock, 2:30, somewhere in that area. And we had to cancel practice the next day because we got back so late and our ball bags were still missing. So we challenged them to get in some pro time in the morning before the men's game at some point or after the men's game. Well, I rolled into the office at 9 o'clock that morning. We had a recruit on campus. And as soon as I rolled in, I sat down, opened my door, the recruit walked in, and then at least 8 to 10 of our players at 9 a.m. trickled through to work on their game. So I've been impressed with their dedication to the process and commitment to getting better.
Well, Coach, thank you again. Looking forward to seeing the Seahawks back in action this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.